Hi guys. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will summarize to you Chapter 9 of The Price of Tomorrow. Can we cooperate? If you're interested to know the content, you need to keep on watching. The Prisoner's Dilemma is a standard example of a game analyzed in game theory that shows why two completely rational individuals might not cooperate, even if it appears that it is in their best interests to do so. As we have seen in previous chapters, we humans are often not always as logical or rational in our decision-making process as we might believe. Our emotions and the stories we tell ourselves drive many of our decisions. Some of our decisions look great until the long-term consequences play out, even when we are only playing a game against ourselves. Game theory applies to almost everything when competing for scarce resources. Game theory looks at the interdependence of the strategies. It plays out in far more scenarios that you might imagine in a competitive world. It applies to many of our choices and decisions. Military spending. If no country spent money on weapons, nuclear or otherwise, that money could instead be used to benefit the greater society. But if one country chooses to spend on its military and others do not, then that country gains an advantage in military superiority. A simple thought experiment shows why. Consider an imaginary world where there was no conflict. Humanity had agreed through mutual reciprocity, trust, and cooperation to abolish all wars. In that imaginary world, society would rid itself of death and destruction from conflict. The prize for all inhabitants would be a world of peace and love. Weapons and the cost of those weapons would no longer be needed. You could expect that if you made a big bet and were wrong, you would be wiped out, but if you were right, your hard work, ingenuity, or risk-taking would be rewarded. In game theory, we could call this dominant cooperative strategy, and it dominated for the better part of the 20th century. The rise of fiat currencies that could be manipulated domestically and the bailout in 2008 changed that strategy to one where the players whose bad bets caused the crisis, instead of being wiped out, were rewarded handsomely. The right incentive structures might be more possible than we think as we move into the future. Many existing incentive structures change in a world of abundance thanks to technology. The most important elements of our human games at their core are about chasing scarce or finite resources. With abundance comes price deflation. This is simple supply and demand economics. The more abundant something is, the more likely it is that its price falls. Abundance changes our perception and economic theory so much that sometimes we do not even recognize something's value anymore, especially when that abundance can be created for free or almost free. Take oxygen. Without it, we stop breathing and die. By that fact alone, it is probably the most valuable thing in our lives. But it is also abundant, making up about 21% of the atmosphere, and because it is so abundant, it is free. Now consider all the things technology is, and will soon be, making abundant. Things that are incredibly valuable but because of abundance fall in price precipitously. We should attempt to create an economic system that works in a condition where there are abundant valuable resources, not the current one that created the enormous debt. Chapter 10 is the last episode of The Price of Tomorrow and will be summarized in the next video. If you like to get a copy of this book, click on the link in the description below.